between you and lunch. So I'm going to make it quick and tell you the story of Quirky. But before I tell you the story about Quirky, I'm going to start with a quote. It's my favorite quote ever. It's not from a philosopher. It's not from like a crazy scholar. It's from a guy who no longer has his job. Oh, wait, can you go back one? There we go. He says, we haven't created anything new or meaningful in quite some time. This was the CEO of P&G about a year and a half ago. The analysts were asking him why the company wasn't doing so well. This sort of sets the stage for the conversation I want to have with you guys around invention and around design. But before I get too into that, I'm going to start with my own personal story. I was a terrible student. I was in the back of math class my senior year in high school, and I was trying to figure out a way to listen to my iPod Shuffle without my teacher realizing that I wasn't listening to her. So I went home and I prototyped a product out of ribbon and gift wrap because there was no tech shop in my town. Literally ribbon and gift wrap, and I thought this was the best idea in the world. I thought the only thing standing in the way of this product being a huge mass market success was a little bit of money. This is sort of my failure number one. I thought it was money, so all I did was I went to my parents and I began to convince them to remortgage their house. My parents remortgaged their house. They handed me $185,000. I got on the next flight to China before my high school graduation. I landed in Shenzhen and realized all the things standing in my way had nothing to do with money. That making a product was really freaking hard. Nonetheless, I did get the product out and did launch my first company, which is called Mophie. Mophie was named after my two dogs, Molly and Sophie, and important things, naming companies. And it was an Apple accessory company. Some of you guys probably have it on the back of your phone right now. And it was off to a good start. But there was a very special moment. I was riding on a subway about 6 or 8 months after I launched Mophie, and I looked to my right. And there was this woman, I don't know who she was or where she came from, but she was wearing the product that I designed in high school. And that was the absolute best feeling in the world. It was, oh my God, I made that. That came out of my face. But immediately concurrent with that feeling was a really important thought. I realized that I wasn't unique in the fact that I had a product idea. Everyone has product ideas. I was unique in the fact that the realities and circumstances of the situation allowed me to execute on that idea. Crazy parents, wasn't tied to a job or anything like that. I realized we were all inventors. We're all kids with tinfoil jetpacks, but at some point, we stop. And we stop not because we want to, but because that's what the world expects us to do. Invention is hard. This is an abbreviated list of all the things you need to do just to push one brand new consumer product out into the real world. Invention is really hard, but at the same time, there's nothing more important in the world than leaving it a better place than you found it. And the way you do that is through invention. So I started Quirky 5 years ago last week with a 3-word mission statement, and that was to make invention accessible, to make sure every great idea in the world ships, regardless of who it came from and what their background is. I'm inspired by lots of things. I live in New York. If I look out my window, shut my head out the window a little bit, I see this building. It's the Empire State Building. It's one of the most iconic buildings in the world. Yet, it only took 410 days to build. The most iconic piece of architecture in the world. I guess it's 13 years after 9/11 and One World Trade still isn't done? 410 days, that's the way the world used to invent and design. This is the world's first fighter jet, the first jet airplane. It was built in 143 days during World War II. Boeing just spent, I think, like $10 billion in 7 years to increase efficiency by 3%. This is the world that we live in right now. It took OXO 3.5 years to figure out how to put a bicycle grip on a potato peeler. 410 days to build the most iconic building in the world, 3.5 years to put a bicycle grip on a potato peeler. That's what we do. That's the world of invention today, and for some reason the world thinks if it takes more time, it's better quality design. Anyway, we build 3 products a week at Quirky. We launch a product every Tuesday at 12, every Thursday at 12, and every Friday at 12, regardless of what's going on in the world. We're just a bunch of people locked in a glass conference room. So how does it work? People come to our website, they submit their ideas in whatever format they have it in. Some people have fully flushed out ideas. Some people have, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we built X, Y, and Z? It doesn't matter. We're there for the inventors whenever they put their hands up in the air and say, that's all I can do. We then take it, the world votes on those ideas. They vote, they rate, they comment, they enhance and refine each other's ideas, and we find the best ones every week through our product evaluation process. And then we make sure nothing stands in the way of that inventor. We help them with design, engineering, we bring it all the way to retail shelves, we'll do marketing, etc. And at the end of the day, everyone shares in the success. Bring you through a quick case study. This is a goofy kid from Wisconsin named Jake. He was a high school student at the time when NASA, like spaceship NASA, came around and said, we want kids to be inventors, we want kids to be creative people. So Jake went home and looked on his floor and saw a power strip that he couldn't fit all the power bricks into. And he didn't ask his parents to remortgage their house. Instead, he submitted this as a trifold board to a NASA product design competition. Problem, solution, what if we made an articulating power strip? Jake won the product design competition. They gave him a t-shirt. They said, good job, kid, follow your dreams. But Jake couldn't commercialize a groundbreaking power strip with a t-shirt, so he sat on the idea for a number of years till he found Quirky. He submitted it. The world voted. It made it to our Thursday afternoon live product evaluation session where we debate and discuss the top ideas of the week. We took that idea and we started working on it. It went through a series of discrete projects in every step of product development, whether it be industrial design to naming to manufacturability and pricing. The community weighs in at every single point to make sure we're making smart decisions. Then it came to naming. Naming is one of the most political things inside of companies. We've made naming into a game where we get like thousands of names, 3,000 names submitted to every product, and the world sort of A/B tests them, and we collect 500,000 interactions, and we know which name is the best. We started to call Jake's product the pivot power. We don't just leave the community on their own, we augment them with some of the best facilities in the world. This is our office in Manhattan. We employ the best designers and engineers out there. And we work side by side with our creative community to make sure that these ideas come to life. This is the first test print of Jake's product, and we got it through all the regulatory bodies. Jake's product was so new that he couldn't have done this with a t-shirt. He needed help. The UL and ETL didn't even know how to test this product. They didn't even know how to decide whether or not it was going to burn people's houses down. Luckily it doesn't. We set up production lines in China, and finally, we brought Jake's product to life. This is Pivot Power. You may have seen it. It's now in tens of thousands of retail stores around the world. On the package is Jake's photo, so everyone knows who actually made it. And we think the great equalizer in design is stick figures. Everyone can draw a stick figure of themselves. So instead of having a logo, we ask people to draw their stick figure when they sign up for Quirky, and we stamp the stick figure of the inventor right on the product. We get a lot of press for it. Again, it's in retail stores, and it does quite well. It's not just Pivot Power anymore, it's a whole ecosystem of articulating power strips for outdoors and rugged, and ones that are app-enabled and ones that are super small for travel, and now Jake's a millionaire, which is better than a t-shirt. Moving on. It's not just about Jake, though, it's about the community of people that help Jake make these products a reality. Every time one unit of a product sells, they all get paid, based upon how much of an impact they made over the successful development of the product. Now we do this because we believe that the best ideas in the world don't come from the boardroom, they come from the living room. And we're going to be in that living room helping people bring their products to life, because that's where genius lies. So, what does this all mean? New industrial revolution, or whatever buzzword you want to put on it? Here's the way it works. The first thing is constraints are king. Something super important about what we do at Quirky is we understand the fact that if you say you're going to launch 3 products a week, you do. We're happy to put our back up against the wall and put ourselves in tough situations, because it's in those tough situations that genius happens. We had to build the first fighter jet in 143 days because we had no choice. People were dropping bombs on our grandfather. That's when invention happens, when you have no choice but to invent. I'll tell you a story that happened to Quirky. We were developing a whole ecosystem of connected devices, app-enabled home products with GE. And Home Depot called us up and said, hey, we're about to make a call on which ecosystem we're going to go with. We need you down in Atlanta tomorrow showing us your product line. Now, at that point, we had just made app-enabled piggy banks. Not necessarily a perfect Home Depot product. Nonetheless, we had to get down to Atlanta and show them what we were about. So we stayed up all night, and we developed and delivered 23 working Home Depot-esque app-enabled home products, and it looks something like this. Designers have 12 hours before the big pitch at Home Depot. We're going to be here all night. We're going to be swinging ice scrapers. We're going to make stuff happen. And show them what we were all about. And that's what Quirky's best at, is putting ourselves in uncomfortable situations. The second thing is I made that drives participation. Okay, that best feeling in the world that I had on the subway, that's something we try to carry forward to our entire community. Because when you're a part of something, you truly understand it. That's why we put each other's names on our products. Usually I made that is something that only designers and engineers can feel. But now everyone can feel it, and that's what that stamp of approval is. And then the last part is that data obliterates politics. The reason why it takes so long to develop products at big companies is because of the politics, because of the checkpoints. When you know exactly how many people want what, you're able to deliver that invention without all that, boardroomy type stuff. So these three things together, people plus data plus constraints equal invention. And that's why when you look back at some of those amazing things like Empire State Buildings and Lockheed P-80s, that's why they're so iconic and have lasted for so long. So I have one caveat, and that's the big threat. And that's the American patent system. So the problem with patents are they're no longer what they used to be. They used to be a blueprint for inventors to use as a source of inspiration, and now they're weapons of corporate warfare. And just in the way we use constraints to help us build products, we're not just complaining about this at Quirky, we're trying to find ways to make it something useful. Work within the constraints of the way the patent system's architected today. We're lucky that GE has literally given our community access to their patents. We've got something called our Inspiration Platform, where we invite the biggest companies in the world, like GE, to say, hey, use our patents for non-competitive use. Because really that's all that matters. So if I could use a GE jet turbine technology to develop a groundbreaking ceiling fan in the home, GE loves that. And that's how you can use patents for the better. Anyway, I'm out. I did time. Bye.